Hello, and welcome to Discover Your AAQEP Journey. I'm Linda McKee, one of the co-founders and the Chief Operations Officer for AAQEP. So how did AAQEP begin? We started the conversation in 2017 with a group of professionals from across 14 states. They were deans, faculty, P-12 educators, and state education staff. Those people from the 14 states joined together into 3 working groups. One was the expectations that designed the standards and evidence. One was the process group that maximized that collaboration and learning across the entire process. And then one was consistency, ensuring accuracy and transparency so that we had evaluations of the entire process and could make revisions according to the needs of our providers. We also decided on some operating principles. The working groups and everyone involved wanted collaboration among the preparation providers. We wanted to be focused on improvement and innovation-friendly protocols. We looked at partnerships across all of the entities, and we also wanted those comprehensive standards that addressed all types of providers. We integrated respect for context and mission, and consistency and collaboration of all reviews and decisions. Wow, keeping efficiency and frugality in the forefront for our operations. Accreditation as a professional conversation is exactly where we were going. How is it defined? How is quality? How do we determine the dimensions? How is it identified? How is it increased or even enhancing improvement? And how can we generate the innovations? So AAQEP had 4 standards determined, and those 4 standards each have 6 aspects. Looking across the top of our conceptual framework here, then we have foundational expectations that are standard 1 and 3. They're pretty common to the majority of people who know accreditation. But we also wanted to take into consideration some new ideas. And so we have standards 2 and 4 that we consider our contextual challenges. Now, if you want more detail about these standards and there's 6 aspects each, then please go to our guide on aqep.org, our website. But while we were thinking about the standards, then it's how do you measure those standards? What is the evidence that can be brought forth, and what are the criteria for that evidence? So we looked at multiple measures with a reasonable continuity, thinking that, if it doesn't make sense, don't continue doing it, right? Also, of course, the quality of evidence needs to be investigated and shared. We thought about priority being given to the direct performance measures, but want to include indirect and downstream measures also. Always looking at the differentiation of evidence by license, level, location, and mode. And of course, taking into consideration assessments appropriate to the program and context, or not one size fits all. So the AAQEP journey, let's talk about that. When you get started on your journey, the first thing you'll want to do is become a member, and then you'll join a cohort, identify your team who could be part of that cohort, and then capitalize on the member support. We have a lot of complimentary member resources available, as you can see on this list, including monthly cohort calls and webinars. The webinar support is available to all of our members free of charge. And you can see the cycle of it goes from writing the accreditation proposal through the QAR, our self-study, to the appendices that are part of the self-study, the site visit logistics, and writing the annual report. We also have member discounted resources and some support available for you. So there's consulting that would be available. We always have the Quality Assurance Symposium every year. And then we have a variety of workshops that would support you in your journey. The workshop curriculum goes from making the case for quality, which is looking at that evidence set, through ensuring data quality and equity, and then using the data to sustain improvement. And soon we will have quality implementation and action. So milestones on your journey are things where we want to really stop and think about how important are these pieces. The accreditation proposal is optional, but it's an extremely interesting way to get some feedback from your peers, some formative assessment feedback. And then we go right into the self-study at the site visit with the accreditation decision at the end of that. And then, of course, the annual reports. It's the ongoing attention to that continuous improvement process that really makes accreditation valuable to us. So thinking about that, how can we continue that collaboration in our conversation with all of our providers? So we have the guide, our webinar recordings, and our member resources that I mentioned. We have the workshops and the consulting, and then we have some of those other member exclusives that are the cohort calls, our brown bag quarterlies, our open forums, and our collaborative conversations. So thank you very much for joining me on this trip through the AAQEP story. So please send any questions or ideas, and I'd be happy to respond, happy to hear from you. I'm looking forward to the time that we could spend together. So contact me at l.mckee@aquep.org. I hope to hear from you soon.